The Young and the Restless. Spoilers. Daniel, a man broken by grief in Genoa City, where drama and intrigue dominate every corner, Daniel Romalotti had quietly become a shadow of the man he once was. His life had unraveled piece by piece, leaving him to grapple with grief, regret, and a hollow sense of purpose. The murder of his wife had shattered not only his family but also his will to fight. And despite the efforts of the police, the culprit remained elusive, a ghost haunting Daniel's every waking moment. For Daniel, the unanswered questions surrounding his wife's death had become an unbearable weight. It consumed him, gnawed at his soul, and turned him into a man he no longer recognized. His relationship with his daughter, Lucy, had suffered as a result. The vibrant bond they once shared was now strained by his inability to move on, his grief casting a long shadow over her childhood. The decision to leave. Rumors began to circulate that Daniel was considering leaving Genoa City, taking Lucy with him to start anew. The idea had been simmering in his mind for weeks. Everywhere he turned in Genoa reminded him of what he had lost, the home where he and his wife had shared their dreams, the streets where they had walked hand in hand, the faces of people who either pitied him or judged him for his inability to move forward. Lucy, though young, had begun to sense the suffocating tension surrounding her father. She missed her mother, of course, but more than that, she missed the version of Daniel who laughed, who cared for her with lightness in his heart, who made her feel safe and loved. One evening, as they sat together on the couch in silence, Lucy finally spoke up. "Dad," she said softly, "can we go somewhere else? Somewhere quiet?" Daniel looked at her, startled by the clarity in her eyes. For a moment, he saw not just his daughter, but the reflection of his own unspoken longing for escape. The idea of leaving Genoa City, of leaving behind the pain and the memories, suddenly felt like the only path forward. Phyllis's promise. When Daniel confided his plan to his mother, Phyllis Summers, her reaction was swift and passionate. "You can't just run away, Daniel," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with emotion. "This isn't the answer. Leaving Genoa won't bring her back, and it won't give Lucy the life she deserves." Daniel sighed, his shoulders slumping. "I'm not running away, Mom. I'm trying to protect Lucy from this. From me. I don't want my grief, my anger, to ruin her life." Phyllis stepped closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I get it. I do. But listen to me, you don't have to do this alone. I'm going to find out who did this. Whoever is responsible for taking her from us, they'll pay for it. I promise you." Her determination was fierce, but Daniel wasn't sure he shared her resolve. He had spent so long chasing justice, and it had brought him nothing but more pain. Now, all he wanted was peace, for himself and, most importantly, for Lucy. "Mom," he said quietly, "sometimes the best way to fight back is to stop fighting. Lucy deserves a chance to be happy, to live without all this hanging over her head. And so do I." Phyllis stared at him, her fiery spirit momentarily subdued. She hated the idea of her son leaving, but deep down, she couldn't deny the wisdom in his words. Perhaps a fresh start was what he and Lucy needed most. A new beginning. As the rumors about Daniel's departure spread, reactions were mixed. Some saw it as a sign of weakness, a surrender to his grief. Others understood it as an act of love, a father's attempt to shield his daughter from the darkness that had consumed their lives. For Daniel, the decision wasn't about giving up, it was about choosing what mattered most. He wanted Lucy to grow up in a world untainted by his anger and sorrow. He wanted her to have the childhood she deserved, one filled with hope, joy, and possibility. In the final days before their planned departure, Daniel began to see glimpses of the man he used to be. He smiled more often, laughed at Lucy's jokes, and even found moments of peace in the chaos of packing their lives into boxes. Lucy, too, seemed lighter, her eyes shining with a happiness that had been absent for far too long. Phyllis's resolve. Though she supported Daniel's decision, Phyllis remained steadfast in her promise to find the truth. She began investigating on her own, digging into every lead, questioning everyone who might know something. For her, this wasn't just about justice, it was about closure. She wanted her son and granddaughter to live free of the shadows that had haunted them, and the only way to achieve that was to uncover the truth. "I'll find the person responsible," she vowed to herself as she sifted through old files late one night. "And when I do, they'll regret ever crossing my family." The beauty of letting go. As Daniel and Lucy prepared to leave Genoa City, there was a bittersweet sense of finality in the air. Friends and family gathered to say their goodbyes, offering words of support and encouragement. Even those who initially doubted Daniel's choice came to see it as an act of courage, a decision to prioritize love and healing over vengeance. In the final scene before their departure, Daniel stood on the porch of their home, holding Lucy's hand as they looked out at the city one last time. "Are you ready, sweetheart?" he asked her. Lucy nodded, her smile small but genuine. "Yeah. Let's go." And with that, they stepped into the car, leaving behind the pain and the past for a chance at a brighter future. As they drove away, the camera lingered on the empty house, a poignant reminder that sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is let go. This ending reflects hope and healing while leaving room for Phyllis's investigation to carry on. Let me know if you'd like to expand further on the resolution of the murder mystery or Daniel's new life outside Genoa City. Lucy's downward spiral. For Lucy Romalotti, Genoa City had always been a place of complicated memories. Returning to the town after her mother's tragic death should have been an opportunity to heal, but instead, it only deepened her wounds. Lucy, barely out of her teenage years, found herself overwhelmed by grief, anger, and the pressure to carry on as if life hadn't fallen apart. Alcohol became her refuge. What started as an occasional escape quickly turned into a full-blown addiction. Parties stretched late into the night, her behavior grew reckless, and her strained relationship with her father, Daniel, became even more fragile. The culmination of her downward spiral came when she got behind the wheel after a night of drinking. The resulting accident, though minor in physical damage, shattered the fragile trust Daniel had been holding on to. Daniel was no stranger to hardship, but watching Lucy spiral out of control was a pain unlike any other. He blamed himself for her struggles, believing he had failed as a father. He had hoped that bringing her back to Genoa City would give her the stability and support she needed, but instead, it seemed to have the opposite effect. Every time he tried to reach her, she pulled further away. "Lucy," he pleaded one evening, after her latest misstep, "I'm trying to help you. But I can't do it if you keep shutting me out." Lucy avoided his gaze, her voice laced with defiance. "I don't need your help, Dad. I'm fine." "You're not fine," Daniel shot back, his frustration boiling over. "You're hurting yourself, and you're pushing away the people who love you." But Lucy's pain ran deeper than Daniel realized. Her mother's death was an open wound, and the lingering questions surrounding it only fueled her anger and despair. For Lucy, Genoa City had become a prison of memories and unanswered questions, a place she couldn't escape. The bond between Lucy and Faith. Amid the chaos, there was one bright spot in Lucy's life, her friendship with Faith Newman. The two had quickly formed a deep bond, their shared struggles and resilience bringing them closer. Faith became a confidant and a source of comfort for Lucy, someone who understood her in a way few others could. Together, they created moments of joy amidst the darkness. Late-night talks, spontaneous adventures, and shared dreams of a brighter future became their sanctuary. But even Faith couldn't shield Lucy from the consequences of her actions. When Lucy's behavior became too much to ignore, Daniel made the difficult decision to send her back to school, away from the chaos of Genoa City. It wasn't a punishment, it was a last-ditch effort to save her. Saying goodbye the day of Lucy's departure was heavy with unspoken emotions. Faith met her at the coffee house for one last goodbye, their usual laughter replaced by a somber silence. "I wish you didn't have to go," Faith said, her voice trembling. Lucy forced a smile, though tears glistened in her eyes. "Me too. But maybe it's for the best. I need to figure some things out, and I can't do that here." Faith nodded, understanding but unwilling to let go. "Promise me something?" "Anything. Come back when you're ready. And don't forget me." Lucy pulled her into a tight hug. "I could never forget you, Faith. You're my best friend." The moment was bittersweet, their bond unbroken but stretched by circumstances beyond their control. As Lucy walked away, Faith watched her go, silently praying that her friend would find the peace she so desperately needed. The lingering mystery while Lucy's departure marked the end of one chapter, it left unanswered questions in its wake. Questions that haunted both Daniel and Lucy. Chief among them was the lingering suspicion surrounding Faith's mother, Sharon, and her potential involvement in the death of Lucy's mother. Amy's insistence that Sharon had a motive fueled the fire. The two women had clashed over the years, their animosity simmering beneath the surface. But was it enough to drive Sharon to murder? Or was this simply another cruel twist in a story already riddled with tragedy? Daniel wrestled with these doubts. Sharon had always been a part of Genoa City's fabric, her life intertwined with his and so many others. Could she really be responsible for such a heinous act? And if so, how would that truth affect Faith and Lucy's friendship? A father's hope. As Lucy left Genoa City, Daniel stood at the edge of the driveway, watching her car disappear into the distance. His heart was heavy, but he held on to a fragile hope that this decision would give her the chance to heal and rebuild. "I'll find the answers," he muttered to himself, the weight of his promise to Lucy and his own guilt driving him forward. "And I'll make sure she has a future worth coming back to." For now, the questions surrounding Lucy's mother's death remained unanswered, and the pain lingered. But Daniel's resolve to protect his daughter and uncover the truth was stronger than ever. Faith's crossroads. Faith, left behind in Genoa City, grappled with her own emotions. She missed Lucy already, but the doubts about her mother's potential involvement in the tragedy weighed heavily on her. Sharon had always been a loving mother to Faith, but the rumors swirling around her were impossible to ignore. Faith resolved to stand by her mother, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Could Sharon really be innocent, or was there more to the story than Faith wanted to admit? The future. As Lucy adjusted to life away from Genoa City, Daniel and Faith were left to pick up the pieces. The mystery of her mother's death hung over them all like a storm cloud, threatening to destroy the fragile peace they had worked so hard to rebuild. But amid the uncertainty, there was hope. For Lucy, for Daniel, and for Faith, the road ahead was uncertain, but it was also filled with the possibility of healing, growth, and, one day, answers.